Right, hey guys, how are we doing? Back with another video from 6, and today we are checking out, is Naruto actually universal? Question mark? I don't think so. I don't see at any point in the series at all. I'm probably wrong, I'm going in this hard, but I just don't see at any point in the series whatsoever, including Boruto, Naruto being universal. I don't think there's anyone within the Naruto verse so far, even in Boruto, that you could say is universal. You could potentially argue planetary, since Boruto's Rasengan thing, which isn't really planetary, it's just using the power of the planet. But, yeah. I don't know where it's going, but Six's video is a boss, so let's check it out.
Naruto being universal is, to say the least, a scolding hot take. If you ask most the internet how strong Naruto is, I doubt you'd get a resounding yes on him even being planetary.
Yeah, there
But
you go.
regardless, it's an argument that can be made and I'm here to discuss it. Before I get started with anything else, I just want to let it be known that I do not care at all if Naruto is universal. I don't even really care all that much if you think if Naruto is planetary. I am simply here as a catalyst for this topic, so treat the comment
Right.
section like your own personal diary and read about all the ways you think the power scaling is inconsistent. Just don't come at me because it's not my opinion.
Alright, okay, cool. That's fine. Yeah, awesome.
I'm
Okay.
just here to cover the argument. The premise of the video being pretty clear, I want to thank my buddy Blue Alchemy for paying to have this video made. You can check him out on TikTok. I'll leave a link to it in the
Oh,
description. And if you want to make a video request
okay.
yourself, my cash out will be down there as well. Just keep in mind anything under $500 will be made into a YouTube short. With all of that out of the way, we can finally get started talking about Universal
Okay,
Naruto.
interesting.
If you like discussion type videos like this, consider leaving a like on the video and subscribing, as I do videos like this often and have tons of others you might enjoy, but let's not waste any more
I
time.
love Six's videos.
Kaguya is the beginning of all this, and a lot of this stems from her,
Oh, opening the other portals to do.
but not
Okay.
all of it. The main discussion being about Kaguya's dimensions. The
Yeah.
relevant parts of this discussion are the size of Kaguya's dimensions, whether or not she created them, and whether or not she can destroy them as well. As I said in the intro, I'm neutral on this topic, so I'll be providing and explaining both stances when facts don't come into play. Obviously, most of this isn't relevant if Kaguya didn't create her dimensions, so let's go over that first. There are two different translations out there on this that can imply two completely different things. The first being the more popular, with the title card of Kaguya's Ameno Minaka saying creating dimensions as she pleases, the divine power of the founder that awakened her eye. This translation would obviously have you believe that Kaguya can create dimensions whenever she wants. It's very blatant and direct. The other translation isn't as direct, stating freely weaving new dimensions, the divine power of the progenitor. This translation implies that Kaguya is weaving the dimensions together. It's not a direct contradiction to the dimensions being created by her, but it suggests a process rather than just a simple dimension spawning.
Yeah,
The
it's like
confusion
she's
between the
just. Yeah, it's
translations.
not like she's just creating them out of thin air and just then, like that moment, it's like, boom, I've created this now, I've created that now. It's like, they're already there. She can travel between.
Comes from the word sumugu and how it's interpreted. The word sumugu does literally mean to spin or to weave. However, it means this in the context of creation, sort of the way you would spin a yarn to eventually make a blanket. So while it is true that Kaguya creates her dimensions, it's done via a process rather than her just popping the ability and a dimension popping out of her eye. This doesn't give us a time frame on how long the process takes or what it includes, but Kaguya does indeed create her dimensions. But she creates her dimensions via an ability, so can she destroy them? The answer to that is also yes, and this is super straightforward. Kaguya is able to make an expansive True Seeker orb that is stated in the manga and data books to be able to destroy her time space.
Right.
Specifically, it says in the data book it could obliterate the world and turn it to nothing. And from here, this kind of ties back to.
And this goes from. What I find funny is we already had him go over the data books and how unreliable they are. But again, I need to remember he's not saying it's his opinion, he's just. Right, so yeah, it's alright.
The last point that Kaguya would create another time space after it was done destroying everything. The disconnect here mostly comes from Kaguya's ability to create another one of these things, which in reality she should be able to do. Kaguya has more chakra than anyone in the Shinobi Alliance, and she didn't even drain them completely to make this orb.
Hmm.
So as far as that goes, it should be clear the True Seeker orbs are obviously spatial erasure though. They aren't really a part of a specific character's AP. However, that isn't really important. While it's true you can't really hit harder than a True Seeker orb, Kaguya has this attack and should be able to use it whenever she wants, realistically. So even if you don't think she can destroy her own time spaces with her AP, she can do it with her True Seeker orb. Also, just to throw this out there, the ETSO isn't Kaguya's strongest jutsu. Her strongest jutsu is the 80 Gods Vacuum Fist as stated in the data books. Obviously, this is only
Again.
important, however, if the size of Kaguya's dimensions are provably universal. So I guess it's time we talk about the size of these dimensions. This is somewhat debatable since they are quite vast. It's just how vast they are people can't seem to agree on. There is a light source in all of Kaguya's dimensions, and in some of them you can see moons present above the planet, which makes the existence of a solar system not seem too far-fetched. However, in Naruto Storm 4, Kaguya's dimension is shown to be more or less the size of a universe.
So we're using
Now,
video
I'm
games
not
now
gonna
as
sit
well.
here and
Okay.
act like I counted the stars or something like that, but looking at it, you can clearly tell what's being implied. However, it's up to you whether or not you want to take the game to be a canon source of material.
There you go.
I'm
Again,
going to be
it's
getting
like,
ahead of myself here, but it's fairly consistent with the dimension we saw Momoshiki had created in the Boruto anime as well. Just to say as well, even if you think Momoshiki is stronger than Kaguya, that doesn't mean they both can't be capable of creating a universe. One could just be capable of creating or destroying far more. There is another argument that Kaguya's dimension is universal in size in the manga, that being via this statement from Obito, but it doesn't really function. Obito mentions how Kaguya's time space is incredibly vast and comments how to connect them in an instant is kind of insane. People have taken this and extrapolated that since Obito has no trouble connecting Kamui in the real universe, that these dimensions must be as big or bigger, but this argument just doesn't work for several reasons. One being, Obito can connect Kaguya's dimensions to Kamui just fine. He does it here on this page. The second reason is that Obito states the reason he's going to need such an enormous amount of chakra is that he's connecting two dimensions that are not his. Keep in mind, Obito here is not using Kamui the way it's traditionally used. He's using Kamui to open a portal to another one of Kaguya's dimensions.
Yeah,
So that they can
instead
find
of it
Sasuke
linking
and
to
Itachi
where,
rescue.
yeah.
That being said, the
Where he
size of
is.
Kaguya's dimensions in the manga is a bit ambiguous, but the game is fairly blatant in how large they want her world to be perceived as. So in conclusion, Kaguya does create her dimensions, that much is true, and she can destroy her dimensions, that much is also true. The size, however, in the manga is too ambiguous to claim whether or not those things make her universal. But if you're a believer in game canon, then she is universal. That is not an outright claim that Kaguya in the manga is not universal. To be clear, I'm just saying it's unknown whether or not she creates actual universes. If it were to be proven that Kaguya's dimensions are the size of a universe, she should be universal. Luckily for anyone who believes in Universal Naruto, the argument only starts with Kaguya, they don't end with Kaguya. The Ten Tails is also believed to be a universal being, but this is mostly outdated because of things we learned in Boruto, and just some weird statements in general. The data book claims that the Divine Tree is the progenitor of everything in existence, yet also claims that the destruction of the Ten Tails causes is on a scale of a natural disaster. The data book, to be fair, kind of operates under the idea that there is only one Divine Tree and that the Divine Tree started everything. Then it thinks the Ten Tails is the Divine Tree robbed of its chakra and transformed into a monster to reclaim the fruit that Kaguya stole. Another paragraph even claims that the Divine Tree birthed the universe and that the Ten Tails is merely a fragment of it, sort of on some Yggdrasil type stuff. Before I even get started with this next claim, let me just make it clear that the fourth databook only covers up to chapter 691 of the Naruto manga. It doesn't cover Boruto or any.
Watch his video on data books, and then watch this. It's weird. It's a weird watch.
Any of the stuff in that, and in Boruto, we learned more about the Ten Tails, where they come from, and what they're doing.
In all fairness,
So
it's
there's
it's not really that weird of a watch. Like he goes into the data books and he's like, right, these statements, this, the way it does this, but he's not. Although, yeah, he's not really doing the thing where he was complaining about like statements being made and people using them as fact. He's not kind of doing that really. I just think it's interesting. He did a whole video on like why the data books are like really something you can't really trust, and then it's like the data book's been mentioned like 4 or 5 times already now. But whatever.
He was not always on
Don't give me
Earth
grief.
like what we saw in
I
part
just try and
two
have
of
fun
Legend of
watching these.
Boruto. It was
I'm not
brought
the
that
power
when the
scaler.
Otsutsuki were invading the planet, those two being Kaguya and Ishiki. The Otsutsuki come to a planet, plant a divine tree seed, which is the Ten Tails, and that begins taking the chakra and energy from everything on the planet and eventually sprouting a tree that bears a divine fruit. We also learned that these divine tree cannot sprout and bore fruit without an Otsutsuki being fed to the Ten Tails, where it's speculated that Kaguya fed the Ten Tails Ishiki's lower half in order to get it to grow. Regardless, at best these statements imply that at what would be its full power long ago, the divine tree birthed the universe, not that the Ten Tails is universal. This and everything
Hmm.
else I said don't debunk Kaguya being universal, however, so just keep that in mind. Now we can move into Boruto territory and start talking about
Oh, there
Momoshiki,
we
but
go.
before that, let's quickly recap the Naruto
This is
segment.
where power scaling goes
Kaguya is able to both create and destroy
crazy.
her dimensions. She does this through her ability Aminominaka, which the original text does imply there is a process to use, just not a time frame or how long it takes this to happen. Which I should mention, the time frame really only matters to the universal argument if you believe her dimensions are universal in size. As if Kaguya uses some sort of big bang to create her universes the way ours was believed to be created, and it reached the size of a universe within her lifespan, she'd be beyond universal, as that would imply hers reached the size of a universe in less than 1,000 years, taking into account when she obtained the God Tree fruit, and our own universe is believed to have taken literal billions of years to reach its size,
Hmm.
while growing at or faster than the speed of light. She can destroy these dimensions by making expansive truth seeker orbs that can swallow dimensions whole and erase everything in their path. Although she drained the Shinobi Alliance of chakra to make this, she should be able to make them on her own since she has far more chakra than them combined, and she barely drained them to make it in the first place. The reason we know this is everyone comes out of the infinite Tsukuyomi cocoons just fine, and we know when being drained of chakra by the tree, people begin to look emaciated. However, her dimensions are ambiguous in size going by the manga and can only really be
Yeah,
quantified
we
by
don't
meaning
see
someone
it.
working
Like,
it. The Ten Tails is not universal, however, the God Tree is implied to be, but it's based on mostly outdated information, and the updated information from Boruto kind of goes against the whole idea
hmm.
that the God Tree was always on Earth. I do quickly want to mention an argument from an anime filler scene where after Kaguya eats the God Fruit, she ascends quickly into the sky and seems to rewrite the universe and bring a moon into the sky in order to cross the
Oh, the
infinite Tsukuyomi.
flashback
As you can
bit.
see, all the stars in the background here seem to disappear as she cracks the sky to reveal the new moon. I just want to
Hmm.
mention it's equally possible
Fill
this
it.
is simply Kaguya opening up a portal to which to bring the Earth. That doesn't mean she's bringing it to another dimension, but could imply it's a different part of the universe. I will admit that's not exactly consistent with the rest of the Boruto anime, since Momoshiki and Kenshiki don't really comment on Earth being in a different spot, but I guess they haven't really been there before anyway, so it's not really a contradiction or anything. But regardless, if you think Kaguya rewrote the universe or created a portal, none of this is really consistent with what we've been told. Kaguya eating the fruit after being among humans for a while and her not knowing what it is isn't consistent whatsoever with any of the accounts we've gotten. We know Kaguya came down to Earth with Ishiki and that she hit him off guard with something lethal to steal the divine tree fruit. Now, to talk about Boruto and keep it simple, we're only going to talk about the novel and anime here. The
The
Boruto manga doesn't
novels.
really have any universal feats in it. The paragraphs I'm about to
No.
read are from the Boruto movie novelization after Naruto had woken up from being knocked out by
Interesting.
Momoshiki
Okay.
and Konoha.
Didn't
Naruto was
realize.
inside dark.
I didn't know this was a thing. I didn't know they'd novelized the movie. Why do that? That's so
Darkness.
strange.
He
But
didn't think they'd gotten very far away from the village of Konoha, but rather than saying this was some place he didn't remember, it'd be more accurate to say this was a parallel universe. It was terribly cold and the distortions
stuck
rippled through the
in
sky. It plainly
parallel worlds.
wasn't
Oh,
the
it's parallel
airspace of
worlds,
his
not
own
parallel universes.
universe.
I was trying to be
Kaguya
clever
has
with the
held the
song.
power of sending people into parallel universes too. This is something like a Kekkei Genkai or hyperspace. So this passage does mention Kaguya's dimensions being a parallel universe, but there is another translation that calls them parallel worlds, and the same goes for every other
Parallel
use of the
worlds,
word
surface
universe that I just
supernatural.
read. And when I went to have it translated, I got an even different translation again, saying that Kaguya has the power to send people to different dimensions, and every word where universe was came back incorrect. The first use of the word universe, this was a parallel universe, uses the kanji
Parallel.
ikai,
Well,
which just means a different world or otherworldly realm. The mention of Kaguya's dimension uses the kanji ikukan, which means different dimension or alternate space. So while it's clear that they aren't in the normal realm, the size of this being a universe isn't specified, at least in the novel here, that is. When you go to the Boruto anime, things start to become a bit more consistent as we see Momoshiki sitting in his dimension where redshift nebulas are visible, which imply an expanding universe is present. That doesn't mean it's the size of a universe per se, but it should one day grow to be that big, especially if he set off a big bang to create it, the same way our universe is theorized to have been made. The anime guide from V Jump, which covers Boruto episode 64, also calls Momoshiki's dimensions a different universe. The kanji used here is sekai, which can mean world or society, but Momoshiki doesn't create a society. Another world
Naruto's
is
not
created, but with
universal.
us being shown
It's
a
just not.
larger shot of his dimension earlier in the anime, I think it's safer to say this is meant to be interpreted as universe, not just simply world or planet. Going back to the novelization, if Momoshiki's dimension is to be believed to be universal in size, then there is a statement Momoshiki is draining chakra beyond the parallel dimension he had made, which could mean Momoshiki was draining chakra greater than the universal amount. However, this could also be seen to mean that the chakra was beyond in the sense that it was a greater distance away from the dimension he
Wait,
made, not beyond as in more
yeah,
powerful,
it's like
which
there's
if he
further
was
to
doing that,
travel.
his
Yeah.
dimension is universal in size, then it's kind of an insane speed feat, but this isn't the video to bring that up in. The argument from there is pretty obvious. Naruto surpasses Kaguya and Momoshiki, being able to damage both of them on separate occasions, and especially surpassing them in Baryon mode, so Naruto should be universal as well. Just to clarify, the argument is never that Naruto can destroy or blow up a universe, just that he has the force behind his attacks necessary to harm the people that can create and destroy universes. Like I said in the intro, whether Naruto is universal
Okay.
or not is not in my interest. This video was simply to provide the information, and you can come to the conclusion on your own. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like on it and subscribe to the channel, but other than that, have a nice day.
Such an easy way to finish a video where it's like, I'm not actually going to confirm nor deny that Naruto is universal. But if he is, and you want him to be, then that's fine. Go laugh at the other people that, you know. But that's cool. I like the approach. It's interesting. He's definitely just not. Naruto's not universal. Even take it all in. Like none of the characters are. Like no one's punching fists like Goku Beerus and shaking the whole fabric of space. Do you know what I mean? It's like you're affecting a planet at most. So, say what you want. Thank you to my patrons. If you want to have your name at the end of every video, I want to be able to watch Patreon online reactions, such as the original Dragon Ball series. Link is to the Patreon page. $1 a month is the last subscribe channel. It's greatly appreciated. Thanks for that. Thank you all for watching. What do you guys think of that? You guys have a good day. Click like, subscribe already. Leave comments down below. Let me know what I should watch. Because if you're in the videos, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.